Tonight on News 5 Live, students from a Belize City primary school test positive for COVID-19. Protesters hold mock funerals to try and bury corruption. And the Sinopharm vaccine is now available for phases 1, 2, and 3. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's news.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Offside!
Was that a goal? Over.
With the touch of a finger, we can easily unlock our phones and securely gain access to our data. This technology is called biometrics, and the Social Security Board is introducing fingerprint recognition to make transactions and handling of your sensitive data secure, fast, accurate, and convenient. Is your identity safe? Fingerprint recognition will keep your Social Security record secure and confidential while making your access fast and easy. It protects your identity. Is your name a common one? Fingerprint recognition uses your unique characteristics, ensuring your hard-earned benefits go directly to you, the rightful owner. Tired of all the paperwork? Fingerprinting makes this hassle-free. Your convenience and your information security is our priority. Fingerprint recognition coming soon. Social Security at your fingertips.
Bees. These small insects play a vital role in the survival of the human species as they provide us with pollination services that create our natural healthy foods, medicine, and much more. Over the years, these little creatures have been under attack. Their habitats are being destroyed, their food and water sources contaminated. All over the world, their populations are drastically declining. But there is hope. You can be a part of the change that saves these amazing creatures and our well-being. Take action and be engaged by reducing the use of chemicals, planting more flowering trees in your backyards, place water containers in your gardens, and by consuming honey from your local beekeepers. As we celebrate World Bee Day 2021, let us all support the world movement to protect this important species. This message was brought to you by the Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, CARICOM Development Fund, Ministry of Agriculture, and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, May 18th. I am Sabrina Daly. What was most feared about the reopening of in-person learning at schools has happened. Today, a number of parents did not send their children to school at 2 primary schools in Belize City after word spread like wildfire on Monday night that there was a high possibility that COVID-19 was detected in a few students. Well, this evening, the Ministry of Health and Wellness confirmed that 4 primary school students from the lower division of the Wesley Primary School in Belize City have tested positive for COVID-19. A teacher from the Queen Square Anglican School has also tested positive. While other teachers and students have tested negative with a rapid test, their PCR results are pending. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
4 students from Wesley Primary School, 3 from lower division and 1 from the upper division have tested positive for COVID-19. A teacher from Queen Square Anglican School has also tested positive for the novel coronavirus as part of a contact tracing exercise ongoing as a result of the outbreak at the Princess Casino in Belize City over the weekend.
The Central Health Region team is working hard with the contact tracing. Contact tracing is what will allow us to contain the spread of the infection, and measures are being implemented with the schools to reduce the exposure of other kids to the virus.
The students ages 12, 10, 8, and 7 are all close contacts of persons linked to the Princess Casino outbreak. The 7-year-old is exhibiting mild symptoms while the others are asymptomatic. All students are in isolation. Today, there was little to no activity at the primary school as the Standard 1 and Standard 3 students and teachers were getting swabbed at the Central Health Region.
Had a parent from the school that was tested positive, and that parent had children in 2 of our classes. Due to that fact, we took those children along with the teachers, and everybody went and took their test today. We had 12 students and a teacher from Standard 3 and 15 students and 1 teacher from Standard 1. However, we learned that there was a relative in a Standard 2 class related to that parent, and so that other Standard 2 class along with the students and the teachers will be tested tomorrow.
Dr. Natalia Baer explains the process agreed to with the Ministry of Education.
When having cases in schools, we start first with the classroom where the positive case is identified. And if I'm not mistaken, the results from the testing of one of the classrooms, all of the kids were negative. The kid that was positive is a close contact of a family member that was diagnosed positive. So in this case, it is recommended, that the kids from the classroom where you have this child that has tested positive, the rest of the kids can stay away from the class until their result is available, the PCR result. And then if we confirm that all of them are negative, none of them have signs and symptoms, then they can go back to school.
Meanwhile, Vice Principal Pamela Baird makes an appeal to parents.
We're appealing to the parents, if you know you're positive, please, we're begging you to keep your child at home. Do not send them to school so that they can expose other people's children.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Contact tracing is continuing after the COVID-19 outbreak at the Princess Casino in Belize City that started on May 15th. As you heard just now, the Central Health's Region Surveillance Team has been able to link positive cases at Queen Square's Anglican School and Wesley Primary School in Belize City. They are also urging anyone who visited the casino and is experiencing cold or flu-like symptoms to go to the nearest health facility in order to be assessed. The Ministry of Health and Wellness stresses that the only means of controlling an outbreak is through increased testing, early isolation of positive cases, and early treatment. They also remind the public to continue to ensure proper use of face masks, hand washing, and physical distancing. Today marks 17 consecutive days that the unions have been on strike. This is historic. No union in Belize has ever undertaken strike actions for such an extended period. On Monday, we saw main thoroughfares across the country being blocked by protesters. And now, protesters are getting more creative in their attempts to get public support. Today, mock funeral processions were held across the country. News 5's Paul Lopez has that report.
For the last 40 years, what we've seen is that our politicians have been married to corruption. And we're saying to them symbolistically today that we are putting corruption to death, and we want them to now come with transparency, good governance, accountability, and provide us with the enabling power to whistleblow when it is that we see corruption attempting to rear its ugly head again.
Teachers and public servants marched through the streets of Belize City, dramatizing a funeral procession. The deceased is symbolic, corruption personified.
Today, if you notice, we have our coffin symbolizing the death. So today we hope to bury corruption, nepotism, all the negative things that are bringing our country down as we stand for good governance. We got to stand strong so that those people who are in government could hear us, hear what we're standing for. We know the 10% is out there and it's going to affect a whole lot of, in fact, almost all Belizeans, especially the poor class of society.
Without the unions, who will be there to hold the government accountable? That is the main thing. Without us, who will be there?
These processions were held in similar fashion across the country, including the city of Belmopan, Orange Walk, and Dangriga towns.
We will not sit quietly and idle by. Going forward, when we see corruption, we will be calling out. I have a whistleblower sign. This is very important to me as a public officer, and we will be actively pursuing to ensure that corruption is buried.
Is corruption really dead?
If it's dead? Is it dead? No, it's not. So we want to bring it. We want to let it die today. That's what we're fighting for. Please stop the corruption, because this is what have us where we are at right now. We're talking about all those individuals that have a hand in the corruption of this nation. So whichever political party, whoever you are, and you have a hand taking what is not yours, that's it right there.
Coming up, bad note taking or bad faith negotiating. Union leaders want to know why points they agreed to are not in GOB settlement. Find out what was missing from that final draft after the break.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "For as is a share of him who goes into the battle, so shall his share be who stays by the baggage. They shall share alike." On October the 14th, 1987, Jessica Morales, later known as Baby Jessica, became famous when at 18 months old she fell into an 8-inch well 22 feet deep in her mother's backyard and remained for 58 hours as the world watched her rescue on CNN. They had to bring in a drilling rig to drill a hole big enough for a man to go down on a rope to rescue her. Now my question to you is this: who was the most important? The man who went down into the well on the rope, or the man holding the rope? The answer is they were equally important. The rescue effort required the faith and fortitude of both. In our Bible passage today, David had just won a major battle on the battlefield with 400 men, and they took many valuable things as plunder. However, back home, some of the soldiers did not want to share with the 200 soldiers who had remained behind to guard their baggage and supplies because they had been too faint and weak to go. David demanded that those who stayed and guarded the baggage would get the same share as those who went to battle, that they would share and share alike. The faithful work you do for Jesus may seem unimportant and go unrecognized, but at the judgment seat of Christ, you will be faithfully rewarded for staying by the baggage. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
The original Gallo Edam cheese is always fresh, has no oily residue, and has the perfect recipe for tropical climates like Belize. Look out for the English label and the blue rooster when you buy your Dutch cheese. Gallo, the real deal. Exclusively distributed by Santiago Castillo Limited.
Trimming the hedges and overgrown trees. Packing food supplies. Ensuring that you have medical supplies and important documents are all part of your hurricane preparations. But what about your home insurance? An insurance policy with RF&G Insurance gives you the confidence that your home and possessions are protected when a natural disaster strikes. Include RF&G in your hurricane plans and join the thousands of Belizeans who have learned why it pays to get it right. RF&G Insurance is a Roman company.
I'm a Belizean traveler. There's so much to see in our country.
Places to just relax and unwind.
Adventures for the bold.
We're Belizean travelers. Are you?
The Joint Unions negotiating team held a press conference at the headquarters of the Belize National Teachers Union in Belize City. During the briefing, BNTU National President Senator Elena Smith brought to light several omissions that were made in government's proposal last Thursday. According to Smith, despite meeting with government representatives and agreeing on certain points, when Prime Minister John Briceño addressed the nation last week with GOB's latest offering, many of those agreements were noticeably missing.
There were also some other offers that were placed on the table, and in our view we had reached agreement on. But the final document that we received saw a lot of those offers missing, or they were not the same as the previous offer. So we know that we have been told that pensioners would not be affected by the salary cut. But if the last document that we received that they are claiming to be the last document, the last offer, in that document nothing is mentioned about pensioners not being affected. So is it that they will be or they will not be? Because if that is your last offer and your final document, and that document should have everything in it, then that should be in there as well, and that is not included in there. As well, you heard the government speak about forbearance for loans and mortgages. In our initial letter of March 30th, it was clear that the forbearance would have been not just for mortgages, but it would have been not just limited to, because we had discussed with them the matter of personal loans as well. However, when that letter came last week, that letter only spoke to residential mortgages. We had also agreed that our collective bargaining agreement that we have been trying to conclude for the past over 13 years now, that we would have been able to conclude that, and it was agreed that that can be done within a 3-month period, and we were supposed to have a first meeting by May 15th. That is not in that document either. We have not yet had that meeting that was scheduled, should have happened by May 15th. And so that's another issue that we have, because the CBA needs to conclude so that we can begin another CBA. It has been over 13 years now.
Of concern for the Public Service Union is the fact that a definitive timeline has not been set for when a reduction in the salaries of ministers and other high-level government officials comes into effect. Coupled with that, says PSU President Gerald Henry, is also the fact that community votes are never audited. That's an additional $7,000 monthly that he says area representatives have at their disposal that go unaccounted for each month.
Another issue that we have is that there was no indication given to us as to when the reduction of salaries for the ministers of state and the area representatives would have come into effect. And again, also how long those reductions would last. We only knew about hours. We did not know when that would cease for them. The ministers receive approximately $7,000 a month for both an office and also for their community votes, which is to assist their members of the constituents, no? But those monies are never audited. I am an auditor for 27 years, and we have never, ever audited those funds. We have always put it forward, but unfortunately, the powers that be always make sure that we never get there, right? So that is $7,000 every month. So when they cut their salaries by 15%, they have access to $7,000 that we don't have the slightest idea what they use it for. There are some of them who claim that they have offices, and when you go there, it's a little room, and you might find a desk, but they are paying, or they are saying that they are paying whatever the amount of money that they give them for the rental, that is going towards this little room.
The offers made by PM Briceño to the unions last Thursday are, for all intents and purposes, government's final proposal. There is no date for when both sides return to the table. However, the unions plan on formally responding to the Prime Minister's offer in the days ahead.
We should be responding to that document. The last offer, the last supper. We will be responding to that as joint unions, and we would be pointing out those errors based on our discussions. Again, we must understand that as we go through these meetings, we end up with some verbal agreements. And at the end, it was expected that at the last meeting that we would have put those agreements in writing, and we would have signed off on them, both sides would have signed off on them. And that document would have had all of the things that we would have agreed to in those meetings from the beginning until the last meeting. However, as we shared with you, all of them weren't included, and so now we will have to now write back to them and point out those areas that need adjusting to ensure that they are captured correctly as per our agreements in those meetings.
Government's proposal to issue teachers and public officers with promissory notes as part of the package being offered to the unions is yet to materialize. Despite an agreement which they say was approved by the Prime Minister, that understanding was never formalized. As for the docking of salaries for teachers who are paid directly by government, Senator Smith says the rules are very clear.
They had agreed that yes, they were going to try to issue a letter to us, right, as it relates to the promissory notes, without committing to and actually increasing the domestic debt, right? That was their thing. So, but we wanted something that we would be assured that indeed after those 3 years, that those promissory notes would be issued. Yes, yes, thanks. And so during the caucus, they actually called their supreme leader, and he said yes. We had agree with that, and so we were waiting during the week, to get a letter. Nothing came. Instead, the supreme leader sent a letter of undertakings, which blew everything out of the water.
Our rules are very clear. The general managers make that decision, not the Prime Minister, not the Minister. The general managers of schools. And for the government schools, they also have a general manager. And we know that, yes, that general manager answers to, but it's the general manager who must make those decisions. And having put that position out there ahead of the general managers is another matter.
The Ministry of Labor has issued a statement this evening reminding unions and their membership to adhere to the laws of Belize during all protest activities. In particular, the ministry points out that the blocking of highways and bridges are, quote, unlawful actions which are not internationally recognized industrial action, nor those permitted by our domestic laws, unquote. They also remind protesters that congregating in groups larger than 10 is a flagrant breach of COVID-19 public health regulations. The ministry condemns the blocking of highways and urges the unions to, quote, abstain from criminal and reckless activities that are harmful and reckless to the wider public. The Labor Commission says it fully respects the citizens' and laborers' fundamental right to freedom of assembly and association, and the freedom of expression as enshrined in the Belize Constitution and International Labor Organization conventions, which Belize has ratified. The court case for the 2 Banque Viejo del Carmen teachers who were arrested on Monday has been adjourned. As was reported, 2 teachers were arrested and charged for a single count of attempting to set a bonfire without the permission of the police. Police say the teachers were seen putting tires on the highway and preparing to set them on fire. Police had originally detained 4 teachers in the Banque area, but only 2 were charged. They were to appear in court this morning. Attorney at law Darrell Bradley traveled to Banque with President of the Belize National Teachers Union, Senator Elena Smith, to represent the 2 teachers before the court. They later learned that a new date was being set for the hearing.
As it relates to our teachers in Banque, they were supposed to appear before the magistrate today. That was postponed due to personal matters, and we returned to court on Thursday.
After the break, you know him as Belize's premier weatherman. But now Carlos Fuller is at the United Nations. Find out about his new role when we come back. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Mama Marvelment is here at Brothers Habet. And for being so marvelous, all mamas get super discounts all month long. like 15 to 30% off our signature Moen lineup and 15% off Hunter fans, Sylvania LED lights and fixtures. So come on down to Barrack Road today and treat your Mama Marvel. Brothers Habet wishes all mamas a marvelous Mother's Day.
My name is Julie, and I'm a single mom raising a 10-year-old son. I'm the director for a conservation organization. When I started working in the field of marine conservation, it was absolutely male-dominated. It still is male-dominated. One of my first jobs was as a manager out on a remote island with all male staff reporting to me. And one of my assistants was very upset with me and actually told me, the only woman who ever tells me what to do is my mom. And I have my son, and I really do want to show him that really anything can be done, and it doesn't matter who you are. From day one, I've been teaching my son that any job that a man can do, a woman can do. And he has learned this, and he now preaches this to friends and even my colleagues.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Nestle. Start healthy, stay healthy.
This is really good, but I think it's missing a little something. It's amazing.
Well, girl, how you bring the feet?
Bring some food. Get it while it's hot.
Mind if I add some A-cheese?
Cheese lovers will tell you. A-cheese has been delivering that perfect bite of decadent flavor for decades. Its creamy taste and rich flavor adds that perfect little something to all your favorite cheesy dishes. A-cheese is exclusively distributed by Unitex and can be found in a supermarket near you. Follow Unitex on Facebook to see more of the amazing products that we distribute countrywide. Shop our products via our website, unitexbelize.com. Call us at 620-6465.
One year ago, an invisible but deadly virus altered our way of life. Upon assuming my responsibilities as Minister of Home Affairs, over 190 members of the Belize Police Department had contracted the virus. And regrettably, 2 of our heroes in uniform lost the battle on the front line of this pandemic. Today, I can proudly say that there are no reported cases within our department, and this is directly attributable to the phenomenal work of the healthcare workers and the team over at the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We are in this together. I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine. This is our chance, our opportunity, our window to return to normalcy. #GetVaccinated_Belize.
It is my time
to protect your life.
Don't wait to vaccinate.
I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine.
The vaccine is the best way to protect lives.
Don't wait, vaccinate.
Don't hesitate, Belize.
Vaccinate. Be COVID-19 safe.
If you care,
love them.
Protect them.
Vaccinate them.
The Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine donated to Belize by the United Arab Emirates in early April is now available to the public. Those doses had been shelved awaiting approval for emergency use from the World Health Organization. With that approval, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is now prepared to offer the vaccine as an option to persons in phases 1, 2, and 3. News 5 spoke with Dr. Natalia Baer about this additional vaccine option.
We have 10,000 doses in country, and once it is made available to the public, they will have an option to choose between AstraZeneca or Sinopharm. So at this moment, studies are still ongoing with the mixed match of vaccines. So we are recommending, and it is recommended globally still yet, that if you get first dose AstraZeneca, you get second dose AstraZeneca. If you get first dose Sinopharm, you get second dose Sinopharm. So the Sinopharm right now is available for persons who have not been vaccinated. It is currently being used in, if I'm not mistaken, in 42 countries. In the Latin American and Caribbean region, it is used in Peru, Argentina, Chile. And in the Caribbean, it is being used in Dominica and Guyana. So it was being used even before WHO approval for emergency use listing. So I think we just wanted to be safe, waiting on the approval. But it has been used in other countries even before the approval. The efficacy against symptomatic infection due to COVID-19 is 79% after receiving the second dose, the first 14 days.
Belize's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Carlos Fuller, presented his credentials to the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, at the UN headquarters in New York on May 17th. Ambassador Fuller delivered greetings on behalf of the Governor General, Foreign Minister Eamon Courtney, and the government and people of Belize. The Secretary General noted that Belize has played a major role in the UN system, furthering the interests of small island and low-lying developing states, climate change, and oceans. Ambassador Fuller assured the Secretary General that Belize's permanent mission to the United Nations would continue to support the UN system in these areas. Fuller succeeds Belize's previous permanent representative to the UN, Lois Young, who had served since 2012. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise has notified chairpersons of the various Sugarcane Producers Association in the North that the Santander Sugar Group has received a manufacturer's license. This means that the company can now produce any sugar, ethanol, or derivative of sugarcane under Section 58 of the Sugar Industry Act, Chapter 283. With Santander now being listed as a manufacturer, its board of directors, as established under the Act, needs to be revised in order to fall in line with the previous Act of Sugar Industry. This was made formal in a letter written by Chief Executive Officer Servilo Baiza that was also copied to the Sugar Industry Control Board and Belize Sugar Industries. As we've reported, ASR-BSI has raised objections to government's decision to authorize Santander to mill approximately 50,000 tons of standover cane this crop season. When we return, the Labor Commissioner tells unions, don't break the law. Details of these stories. There will be much more news after the break when we return.
Why, Tony?
Boy, kid, what you going on, man?
I'm actually going to see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just routed the last batch, must be about like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What are you going on?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
Hello Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Andrea Polanco, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
A new statutory instrument which extends the curfew hour on Thursday come into effect at 12 midnight. The SI says the new curfew hours are 12 midnight to 5 in the morning from Thursday to Saturday. The curfew hours from Sunday to Wednesday remain at 10 in the night to 5 in the morning. The SI also says persons will not be required to wear a face mask or face covering when moving on a motorcycle, golf cart, or any other similar motor vehicle. The Belize-Guatemala Joint Commission met today in Belize City following instructions from the foreign ministers of both countries who met in March at the adjacency zone to reactivate the work of the Belize-Guatemala Joint Commission. The Joint Commission received reports on the status of implementation of 4 of the 13 agreements that were signed between the two countries in Placencia in December 2014. Those 4 agreements related to the recovery of stolen cultural artifacts, sustainable tourism, movement of students, and seasonal workers. The Belize-Guatemala Joint Commission was established by the 2005 Framework Agreement on Negotiations and Confidence-Building Measures signed between the two countries under the auspices of the Organization of American States. Ambassador Amalia Mai, CEO in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Foreign Trade that is, headed Belize's delegation in her capacity as Belize's commissioner. Belize's delegation also comprised Jose El Puche, ambassador of Belize in Guatemala. The meeting was held at the Radisson Fort George Hotel. On Sunday, a race for non-elite, non-professional and semi-pro cycling athletes was organized by Gons Auto JC Consulting Belize. The event was done to get the youth involved in the sport, but saw participation from riders up to 62 years old. The race took approximately 40 riders from the start at the Northern Shops on the Philip Golson Highway onto the Airport Road through the John Smith Link Road and then onto the George Price Highway, where the race concluded in front of Leslie's Imports. Just ahead, reviving a once-beloved sport. Two men from Belmopan work to bring back baseball in Belize. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
For the best built tools with the best performance and service, Hilti is the brand you can trust. Our warranty program is second to none. Hilti will repair or replace any tool that breaks as a result of materials or manufacturing defects for 20 years. Get 2 years of no-cost wear and tear coverage, including parts. Hilti, the best tools with the best coverage. Available at Benny's Quality and Savings.
The contamination of water we all depend on is a very urgent issue. As Belize's popularity and industries grow, challenges increase. In this episode, we will examine the issue of water pollution in Belize. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, usually because of human activities. Water bodies include lagoons, rivers, aquifers, and oceans. On the marine side, the discharge of sewage and bilge water from cruise ships and other live-aboard vessels, in combination with unregulated development of coastal areas, has led to the degradation of marine ecosystems such as mangroves and coral reefs. Our inland waters are facing their own challenges. As agricultural development increases, pesticides, fertilizers, and waste products are running off into rivers. Increased river traffic from boat tours and sugar barges adds to the already stressful conditions of the freshwater ecosystems. In addition, companies that collect sewage sometimes dump the waste right into the waterways. Additionally, in densely populated areas like Belize City and Orange Walk, poor sewage designs result in the contamination of groundwater and of water bodies by both sewage and wash water. In many cases, homes and businesses dump their wastewater directly into drains, which leads to rivers and the sea. Wastewater, detergents, and petroleum collect in drains that empty into waterways, such as the New River and the Belize River. This, along with the runoff and discharges from the agricultural and industrial businesses, have been inadequately monitored and enforced. The answers to overcoming water pollution issues are fourfold: improved infrastructure, adequate treatment, increased legislation and monitoring, and of course, changing our habits for the better. While it is urgent that better management on a policy level is needed, there are a few things we can do at home to help. Ensure proper treatment systems are installed for all wastewater at your home and business. Don't dispose of oil from your automobiles or cooking and household detergents down the drain. And lastly, minimize the usage of chemicals and fertilizers and report any dumping into waterways to the Department of the Environment. The government has recognized the threat of inadequate liquid waste management and is working toward goals of reducing and reversing its effects. For more information on what's being done about water pollution and ways you can help, visit our website at doe.gov.bz. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
It's sometimes confused with softball, but a pair of baseball athletes from Belmopan is now trying to revive the sport in Belize. For about 3 years now, they have been working out with the youth out of West to teach them the techniques and foundation of the sport, which was lost among the new generation, but loved by our parents and grandparents.
Solo shot by Brant Brown, and in 12 innings, the Cubs take the first of this 3-game set. That ball hit deep into left field, way back. He looks up. You can't put it on the board. Yes!
If you were born in the 80s and earlier, watching the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox playing baseball on TV was a favorite pastime for the entire family. But as the years went by, the love of the sport dwindled, especially among millennials. And it is not to be confused with cricket or softball, which to date is still played primarily in rural communities across the country. The last time baseball was played in Belize was in 1993 by way of a little league.
Since 2016, the first time I arrived, I saw softball being played, and I was excited to see it. Once I watched it, I said, there can be more done here. We need to up the competition. We had a complete revolution of the sport. The way that we were coaching, the way that we were practicing, we upped the ante, a big, great deal. And from then on out, I've been taking my kids here in Belmopan.
It's been 29 years since baseball has been dead, and we have started about 2 years ago. Baseball is the same concept of softball, but it's quicker and faster. The bases are farther away. You throw overhand, softball you throw underhand, and it's just more intense.
Both Andrew Trammell and Anthony Smith developed a love for the sport at a young age and played baseball professionally in the U.S. and elsewhere. The Belizean American athletes returned to Belize and established the Youth Baseball Association of Belize back in 2018 and are players for the only adult team called the Spartans of Belize. Prior to the pandemic, a group of about 20 young children from the Belmopan area would engage in learning the basics of baseball 4 to 5 times a week at the Governor General Field in Belmopan.
We don't take kindly to any type of lazy play. You know, there's a lot of laid-back attitude in the country, and that's all well and good, but when it comes to sports, you want to be the best that you can be. So I show them that every single time. I lead by the way. You know, I don't want to just talk. I want to show them exactly why I'm doing these things. And so when we're at practice, if one thing goes wrong, they'll know. Anyone coming up, you guys want to come play with us, one thing goes wrong, we will work. We will do conditioning, we will run until we learn exactly why it is that we don't make mistakes in practice.
Creating an adult team too, which we started about 2 years ago to Spartan of Belize. We went to Guatemala to play baseball. We came in first, second place. Again, there was Guatemalans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, and we also went to Mexico to play. We put Belize back on the map for baseball.
As COVID-19 restrictions are eased and non-contact sporting activities can resume, the athletes are now looking to see how they can expand the initiative across the country.
Once we make contact with the schools, we find parents. A lot of big things about the States is that you have volunteers. The parents, every single one of them wants to join up. They want to be at practice. They want to be involved. But the way I'm going with it, I'm going to use the teachers. I'm going to use the teachers, anyone that has an experience, a desire to play the game. That's where we're going to go. Right?
My goal and mission here in Belize is to see baseball all over the country from all ages. We're going to have for kids. We're going to have for teenagers. We're going to have an adult league. And I wanted to see it played like in the States, you know, at an advanced level, that one day we can play in the Serie Caribe. We can play against other countries, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, you name it. And to put Belize back on the map and show these other countries that there's a lot of talent here in Belize.
The Youth Baseball Association of Belize also wants to develop a baseball academy in the West. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.